Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. I'd like to call the Planning Commission regular business meeting for October 22nd to order. And I would ask that you join us, if you're willing, in the saying of our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business is the approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, there needs to be one edit to the minutes to change the name to Susan Bucknam for the one attorney who appeared. And with that change, I would make the motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, we have a number of action items before us this evening. The first is the zoning ordinance task force update. And I believe we have a petition that's been submitted in association with our current draft of the ordinance. Was there somebody here to represent the petitioners tonight? All right.
Charlie, make sure you push the.
Is that on? Is that on? Is that okay? Hey, everybody, Charlie Gerbron. I'm representing this evening a number of landowners in the, what are we calling it? The Route 7 corridor area that has been, there it is, that was originally being, I think, shaded and colored as mixed use, then some innovation, and then light industrial. And I know there are some interested neighbors that have spoken during the past few meetings. So recently retained to discuss that. What this is the landowners, and I'm going to say that it's about 80% of the land in that area, and it's a majority of the owners have submitted this. Their preference would be in order that it be mixed use, innovation second, and this limited industrial last. The mixed use largely preferred as it's the feeling that that's, a primary consistency with the comprehensive plan for that economic development area. The innovation option, of course, has similar uses, as does the LI. One of the things about the, what I'll call limited industrial, for lack of a better word, I'm not sure it's how industrial the permitted uses are, but it is special exception and conditional use dominant. So, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for uses that have potential to affect things, and that the board, whether it's a zoning hearing board for special exception or conditional use, the board of supervisors, to put reasonable conditions upon. So for a lot of uses, that makes a lot of sense. But I do, having looked at, there are far fewer, in the zoning use chart, Ps there than Cs and SEs. And I think if one of the goals of this was to bring some certainty and uniformity into it, make your zoning officer's job a little bit easier, and eliminate sort of zoning hearing board activity, that would be the preference in order. So I realize that there are, these are not, as I've been before you, the last few months have been stressing legal issues. This is not a legal issue. This is a planning issue, one that's within your capable hands. But I just wanted to relay that is what these owners, who are constituting, as I said, about 80% of that area, would like to see. I would like to offer one modest excuse for what might otherwise be characterized as some 11th hour involvement, is that, this has changed a few times. It hasn't always been the same since July, and then we're showing up the night before. So maybe that could potentially be taken into consideration. So that's all I have. Thank you.
I'm
Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I do have one question. When I was looking at the petition in the signers, It looks like two of the signers represented property 60-6-47.1. And I'm presuming that the Stinson Farm signature was for 60-6-47.1A.
That may be,
Right there, right in the, you had it. It's the 60-6-47.1 and
across the
.1A.
street there.
So they're across the street from one another. And I believe that the one on the east side is 1, and on the west side is 1A. So I think that the signature for the Stinson Farm should be updated to read
Incorrect.
1A.
I'll make a note of that.
Okay,
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Hazelwood.
yep. We don't have an opportunity here on the Planning Commission to make a recommendation simply because of timing issues. But we can talk it over and ask you any questions. And I believe we're free to forward on to the Board of Supervisors the petition for their consideration as well. So I'll open it up to the group. Do we have any questions? Would we like to talk this one over?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
I do think there should be more dialogue with the Route 7 corridor. I know last meeting, I know was talked a lot about light industrial. That was kind of thrown on us at this meeting about light industrial. And then, and we just actually got the draft this past Thursday for light industrial. And I know somebody from Harrogate, last meeting said they were, I think, in favor of light industrial, but there was 4 or 5 conditions in the light industrial that they weren't in favor of. So I'm assuming that this could be somewhat of a response to last month's meeting. So I think with further dialogue, hopefully everybody can come together to try to find something that's equitable for everybody.
Sure.
Just my opinion.
No, and
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, trying to figure out what's involved, I just mapped it out. It looks like it's just about everybody that's covered has signed this petition. So clearly the affected residents and owners have some concerns, and I agree, having a dialogue about it will enable us to take care of our neighbors.
Sure.
and
And I mean, my
balance
view of it is that, nothing is, modest changes, nothing is too late until it's been advertised for a hearing. So there's time to discuss that. And I certainly would be happy to participate in that with anybody.
If I might, as a member of the task force, I recall that the first 3 maps from last September and November and February all had it as mixed use. And then there was a change. It went to residential fully. And then there was conversations with one of the Lafferty's sons. I think it was Tommy's son, Chris, and the town, and it went to the Innovative. So it's kind of come back full circle. And I think that in favor of the idea of the mixed use, that it provides the most flexibility for the any developers or for the owners, and also it's self-determination in a way by a majority of the owners there. And I think it's probably as flexible as you can get to meet the community's needs going forward, whether it be for daycares or small shops and things on the Wilhelm property, that island. And so I'm glad they've come forward with this petition.
Thanks, Sam. Anybody else have some thoughts or questions?
I think we have a person from Harrogate North, is that represented Harrogate South? I would be interested in hearing your opinion.
And a few meetings ago, Mr. Parati brought up.
Could you tell us who you are? just
Margaret Devane, and I'm here on behalf of the Board of Estates of Harrogate, which is also called Harrogate South. And we have been.
thanks, Ronna.
Thank you. We have been coming here for well over a year discussing this. And we felt pretty confident the last meeting and also with the task force meeting that we had moved in this direction. With the Innovation District, there are still 50 non-conforming uses to what is currently permitted in that area. With the mixed use, and there were very extensive discussions about this, which is why they moved to Innovation District. It does not fit. There are over 100, I believe, non-conforming uses, many permitted by right. So we're talking about the developers, the owners of that property on Limestone Road who want to develop. We don't oppose that, but then there needs to be some strict scrutiny because we're talking about 20% of the residents of this township live right there. They purchased their homes with an understanding of this is what that area was designated for. If you go to that area, it is all light industrial use. It's the knife place, there's a storage place, it's not loud, heavy traffic, noxious odors. And we thought we had made tremendous progress with this commission, with the task force, with the township as a whole. So this late hour petition from a handful of people who want to develop, we're saying, hey, develop and make it strict scrutiny so that they have to go through and see how will this affect all of the people who own homes in that area. And again, it's about 20% of the whole township. So this is shocking to me. Again, we've been coming for over a year, working really hard towards this. And it seemed like there was an agreement that we were on that right path, that clearly the mixed use did not fit because of the impact it would have on that area. So this is just really upsetting, really, really upsetting. It doesn't seem fair. Like they want to develop, of course, if you're a developer, you want to be able to do whatever you want on that land, but you can't, you have to have some regard to what is around you and what it will do to the township too. Again, develop, but with mindfulness and what is there now, what is permitted now, what is a conforming or non-conforming use now, and the mixed use does not align. So that's all.
Thank you,
What
Ronna.
steps then? Because this, I thought that you had already made a recommendation. The task force had made a recommendation, I guess. The task force made a recommendation to make it the new light industrial, which they can still develop with that. There's lots of development that can happen with the light industrial.
Yeah, we'll likely talk a little bit about that next.
Okay.
But you're right. The zoning committee has submitted to the planning commission, and where we are now is to forward that draft to the board of supervisors with a recommendation.
Right.
And again, we can't address the petition because it's happened outside of that process.
Yes.
However, I think we can forward it to the Board of Supervisors without making any recommendations.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for all you've been doing.
Thanks, Ronna.
Can you help me understand the next steps? There has been a draft out there, right? Okay. And then when does this potential, I guess I'm trying to understand when this potential change would get communicated to the public for anyone else to provide comment with enough time to view it, to understand it, and have enough time to come to a meeting and express concern of it.
Yeah, keep me honest here, Robert.
Yeah, so, and that's the point of the public comment
So there can be public comments as council alluded to there earlier. So this petition is in front of you that because they asked for it to be brought to you, you cannot act on it because it was not advertised in the agenda, but you can certainly discuss it and do with what you would like. And that would just be basically either saying you want to go ahead and send it on with your adopted draft and the addendum, if you guys want, so choose to pick one of the options and send that along, or you can just send the addendum in its entirety without any recommendations. So you have a lot of options.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to understand from a public view
Right. So we'll,
and what's happening.
right. So we'll forward the zoning package to the Board of Supervisors with the recommendation. And there are a couple of questions related to this particular area along Limestone Road where we have options to recommend a course of action. That does not include the mixed use petition that was submitted. However, we can include the mixed use petition when we forward to the Board of Supervisors. If the Board of Supervisors approves the new zoning ordinance, then it gets forwarded to the Chester County Planning Commission, and there's a 45-day public commentary period that will begin. So once the board takes their action, there'll be 45 days of public.
Yeah, so if in fact you're through tonight and you approve the ordinance, the draft ordinance, and with however you want to handle the addendum, that would go to the Board of Supervisors special meeting on Monday night. Basically, that's just them saying, given the okay, the Planning Commission has provided us with a draft ordinance. Now we're saying, oh, it's okay to send that for public comment and to the Chester County Planning Commission for their review. Once that period's over, it would go back to the Board of Supervisors for a final vote. So there's two review, there's,
You know, you would have to follow the.
right, but what you have to do is you have to follow exactly what the MPC says, and that's what the MPC says of that process.
And is,
About what happened at the meeting, the task force meeting, and the last planning board meeting. And so, you know, it just seems, thank you for bringing it up, it just seems really unfair to kind of slide this in at the last minute.
Correct, but I'll just remind you that there is a 45-day public comment, so there could be other things. That's why it's a public comment. That's fine, but that's the process. And that's all I can go with. Thanks.
I have so many questions, I'm sorry. My name is Claire Aiello, and I actually live in Harlow Point, which is the closest development to the Limestone Road corridor. So this is especially concerning to us. We're like the front line, and then the Harrogates and the Somerset Lakes come after us. We're a 55 and over community. We bought to live there because of the quietness in the area, etc. So that's number one. Katrina, I like to echo what you said and of course what Rona said. Where have you been for a year? Like all of a sudden, like,
First time
Well-
published October 16th, showing.
Yeah, but we,
Yeah, if you can address your
Sorry.
commentary to the planning commission, and we'll consider your comments, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them as well.
but I understand now how this came up. I get that. So at least there's an understanding. I just feel that I'm not sure, I guess I'm not sure what the petition, how many people have signed it with the, I understand that it may be their businesses, but is it where they live? I have so many questions about it. What is it that they'd like to build there or sell, or who they would like to sell to? I think it would be beneficial if we had more information to at least understand each other, even as neighbors. We have residential neighbors, and then we have business neighbors. And this is very, very concerning because, as Rona had said, we've been working so hard to get to a point where we thought everybody would be happy at the end result. And now, I'm not even sure if it's how big the gap is, but not by not understanding what the need or desire is of the petitioners. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
So I think that if we all understood each other, or, it would make things easier, but I'm not sure if there's a forum to do that.
Well, we have had over the course of the last year and a half, an ongoing discussion around the development of the new zoning ordinance. So that conversation has,
In that.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah. But this new information or this new petition, whatever you want to call it, like, at what point do we get together to say, okay, I want this, to find out how far apart we actually are in what we require as zoning changes? Is there a forum to do that? Is that what we do? Is that what we're doing here?
I think I can answer that because he's sitting there shaking his head yes, so I'll be kind of the moderator here.
So-
I would suggest that outside.
Mr.
Here's how I
Ensign,
would suggest for the planning commission to handle this. Since their council is on board with speaking with you and your residents, I would suggest that you have a sidebar conversation, not tonight, because it's not going to be approved tonight with this, to come together and determine what what the differences are, what the mixed use, and have that conversation. I think that's amenable.
Okay, so we'll exchange information. No, there's more people, yeah.
No, they are the property owners. Yeah, yeah. Right. I would agree with that, but
I think
they are the owners.
filling the gaps is really critical.
Mhm.
Does that make sense, or am I out of my mind? Well, I mean, okay. You don't know me, so you're allowed to answer that
Yep.
question.
So that's why I suggested maybe some further conversation. So I want you to understand what I'm feeling. So Thursday, we were presented with 4 options. I'm not comfortable with any of them right now. May end up at the same point, may end up to where, I don't know, but Thursday to today, 4 options, vote on it. For me, I'm out. I think maybe we can hopefully can find some kind of a common ground. But even if it was just one person, they're township residents, you know, so we're
course.
here for everybody. you
Makes
know,
sense,
So,
makes perfect sense.
and not to rehash, but it was just brought up October 16th, so it's pretty fresh. So,
Very fresh.
you know, I think we have to try to get this right, you know,
Right.
that's just me speaking.
Okay, so then my understanding of the next step is for you and I, or us to have a conversation, whoever would like to be included in that. And before what date is that critical?
So the Board of Supervisors will have a special meeting Monday night, which provided that the Planning Commission sends the draft ordinance to the Board of Supervisors, they will take then and say, yep, we want to send this to the Chester County Planning Commission and to the, and put it in for the 45-day public comment period. The next Board of Supervisors meeting would be December 15th,
Okay,
where
So-
they could act on it.
So if we did not send the draft to the Board of Supervisors for their consideration, then we would be postponing those steps until such time as we all were comfortable with that we'd adequately considered these questions and could provide a more broadly supported recommendation that we were comfortable with putting before them.
Can you repeat that?
would that make, that sounds like it would make the most sense, but I'm not one of you.
Did you have any other
No, I'm
questions
good.
or?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
We clearly have a lot of our neighbors here tonight, and this is an important question for all of us. So if there are additional questions or comments from the group, please raise your hand and you can come up and talk.
I am Patty Bodie from Walnut Run. I've been called an outlier by this committee, which I agree. You have put in a whole year of work, a lot of work. I was hoping that the woman, they would be here from the zoning
Samantha?
group. Samantha, thank you.
Yeah.
They have been so patient with everybody. They have listened to everything. And I agree that it's, if you've come to every meeting for the year and a half or whatever it's been, and we've all come a long way with understanding the vocabulary that's changed, the options that have changed. It's a lot that's gone on. But the thing is, we're still in discussion. It hasn't been finalized yet. So even after you have submitted it, you have another 45 days for comment from people that still might not have heard about it, which is amazing to me because it's everywhere on the website. It's everywhere. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate all the work that's been put into it. There are things that I don't love. I think it's still a pretty good plan, this whole Route 7 bit. These are property owners that need to be heard. I understand there's developments that have been put in since these people have bought their property and are concerned about what they're going to be living next to. And that's why the zoning is there. The mixed use seems to be a great option of things. Just because you live next to it doesn't mean you can necessarily control it. So I understand the frustration on their side. I understand the gentleman coming with a petition for them. But it's the landowners that should be able to decide. It's not necessarily builders that are there. And some of those families have been there a while and they're going to still be there after this is done. So I appreciate that there's even a possibility that this won't be passed on to the board, even though there's already been so much work put into it. But people need to realize that there's still going to be public comment for 45 days after it's put out there. Does that make sense?
All great points, Patty. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And you're right. We have been working on it for a long time. And with these kinds of projects and these kinds of initiatives, and there's so many of our neighbors and everybody has different perspectives. One thing for sure is that some people are going to be unhappy. You know,
You can't love it all.
we can't please everybody, but we're trying very hard
Thanks, we live in America. We can all share it and we can all discuss it.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the neighbors that are here tonight? Okay. Well, those of you who did speak out, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and your questions with us. We take all of it very seriously. It sounds like what we have on the agenda, which is to propose to the Board of Supervisors this current draft with one of a couple of options and a couple of secondary options associated with those options, is something that it feels to me like we're not quite ready to take that step yet. Is that fair? So rather than making a proposal to the Board of Supervisors, I think would propose or decline to make a proposal and let them know that we need some more time. Is that fair, Robert?
That's your decision.
Okay. Do we need to have a motion to that effect, or is that something that would be captured adequately in the minutes?
I would just say that I would put in your minutes that due to lack of a motion, you could call for a motion. If you don't get one, then it's a lack of a motion. And then that would be in your minutes.
Okay. So I can
If we don't thank you. If we don't advance this time, does it go on to the next month agenda automatically? Like what?
I think that's what we would want to.
That should be then clear in the minutes.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because what are we asking for? We're not asking to push it to next meeting. We're asking for more time to have a conversation so that we can make a proposal for the Board of Supervisors that we're all comfortable with, and that's going to require us to have some additional conversations and maybe have Samantha.
The task for, or the Michael Baker's contract will be over,
Okay.
so they will not. So
We'll have to do it on our
it'll
own.
It'll
Okay.
have to go one of two ways. The Board of Supervisors will have to approve an amendment to their contract,
Mm-hmm.
or their services are discontinued.
Okay. And I don't know that we need to get an extension. It seems like the question is innovation district, or light industrial, or mixed use. And
That being why they're not here tonight, because
Right.
it's up to you to make a decision.
yeah, it was originally light industrial or innovation. It looks now, on the basis of most of the people affected, that there's another option that we ought to seriously consider, and consider it within the context of the broader conversations that have happened to date, and have that conversation until we reach a point where we're comfortable making a proposal to the Board of Supervisors. Does that sound fair?
Yes, it does.
Yes, and I would, and I don't know how the mechanics work, but with the Harrogate representative and council, I would like to hear if they come up with anything. The conversation, there's a lot can be solved with conversation.
Agreed.
So, and I would like to have those inputs to make a better decision.
Is that something you think we can get done before the next meeting? Get it done in a couple of weeks? Can we find time to?
They wanted to, because
Okay.
you can't leave something open on a piece of paper. I looked through this thing 10 times today. And that was the biggest question I had, was how can they leave this open? It's not finalized. It's not complete to be even voted on.
Well,
I don't know what they're, I asked that girl when she was here last month, why are you doing that? She didn't have no idea.
Yeah, I think.
To answer your question, Bob, and because this did go back and forth with the solicitor, the Planning Commission still has these open items that they have to vote on, so you can't put them in the draft ordinance to be voted on if they're not finalized. You haven't finalized the draft.
Yeah, and that, and I, being on the task force, we talked about this section a lot. And there was quite a bit of conversation, and the group, I think, could see it both ways. They could see the benefits of having an mini innovation district. They could see the benefits of having a light industrial area. And I don't think that there were very strong opinions one way or the other, but there was a belief that the planning commission could weigh in and make that decision. And that's why it was forwarded to the planning commission without being final, so that this group could exercise some consideration and render judgment.
One thing that in any type of planning, and the number of years that I've been here, around here, is that that part along Route 7 was pretty much left open for that very reason, for some type of commercial development. It wasn't designed for residential homes. Same as 41. Anything you put along 41 should be commercial or industrial use because of the highways.
That's right.
3 highways.
That's
Got
right.
Route 1, you got 41, and you got Route 7. And all those highways are the things that make this township tax dollars. And that's where it's got to go. It doesn't go in the middle of Landenberg. It got to go on where people can access it. So it's a problem when they don't finish. It's unfinished. It's just unfinished. It should have been done. So, and if they're doing this just
It was a known, it was the last question, and it was a known uncertainty. And your points about the economic impact of these zoning decisions are spot on. You know, there's very limited infrastructure within the township, and highest best use of that infrastructure is towards things like light industrial or innovation. And the zoning commission just couldn't make that decision. They wanted to have the assistance of this group to make that determination. And that's why it was presented in its near final form, subject to that last question. Do we want to do this, or do we want to do this along the Limestone Road corridor? I suppose the zoning task force could have made that call without seeking the planning commission's input, but the decision was made to engage with the planning commission and get your thoughts before finalizing the draft and sending up to the Board of Supervisors. That was the rationale.
There was a plan for Route 7. There was a grocery store plan for that back when they were doing the shopping center in 41. A guy that does the shopping center. I'm sorry. There was a plan. There was a plan to put a grocery store there years ago. The developer who does Longwood area out there, which it keeps expanding, was going to put a grocery store in there, whatever, an Acme or a Giant, whatever. And that's Waters. He's a developer, and that's who was going to do it. And it was the same thing. The people that lived in Harrogate, they weren't sure that they wanted that, and they're not sure what they really wanted. But what it was zoned for at the time was a use that they could do that. And because there was such an outreach from the people, that he just decided to, of course, the economy went south, and that was kind of the end of it. So,
yep.
But there was a plan.
May I make maybe a final comment, or not? I just want to address that I do know that a lot of these homeowners have come to the open houses and have participated and have been aware of this from the beginning. And so it's a misrepresentation to state that they're coming in just at the last moment. They're very concerned. They own, the 100 acres there, more than 100 acres there. Also, that it is not that the ordinance is so much unfinished. I think this is a map question about the limestone area um, more than what's in the ordinance itself, except for that, this area here, which is being opposed and thrown into, the discussion about light industrial, and what uses should be taken out of that, or the original, the other zone, the enterprise that they're trying to pull some uses from. So I agree with the commenter where a lot has been done, a lot has been discussed. This is in pretty good shape. It's unfortunate we're not going to send it on now. There is going to be opportunity for more public comment and for it to be changed by Board of Supervisors as they listen to the public. But I agree also that the more discussion is going to help get us some answers. And it'd be nice to have a workshop at some point where the Planning Commission could get together at an open workshop and have discussion, look at the maps, or, chew up the ordinance. Because although some of us were on the committee to represent the Planning Commission, I suppose, or not to represent the Planning Commission, but just that we are planning commissioners, and so we're going to participate, I think that the other planning commissioners would like to spend more time on it as well and think about it and offer changes. So thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Do you have enough to memorialize that in the minutes? Okay. All right. So we'll move on to the next order of business then. All right. So next up, we have the 191 Laurel Heights Road zoning hearing board application. The hearing date is November the 18th.
So the application came in, Mr. Pearson is in the back of the room representing himself. It actually has the same legal counsel. So basically, in a nutshell, what they're trying to do is take their 31 acres and carve out a 10-acre parcel for, family to build a house. As you may know, that Black Horse Lane is a little spur that comes off of Kelleher. Typical land development plan where for future growth, that road was put in. However, the property owner is not planning to develop it in that manner. They're just using it for family. So they need that cart, or the right of way where that road is only 50 feet wide, like a typical roadway right of way. The zoning ordinance requires 150-foot lot line at a right of way and the building line. So obviously it's impossible for them to get that. So that's what they're seeking the variance for. And they're doing that prior to further investing in their land development.
Are you able to bring it up on the
Which one?
site?
Yeah. Do you want the Chesco View site or?
Yeah, that'd be,
Oh.
the Chesco views would be even better.
Okay. Let me get my bearings over the river and through the woods. Going in the right way, Mr. Hoops?
There, head on. There's Parker.
There it is, right there.
Right, so this is the 50-foot stretch right here Mr. Weir was talking about, and the spur that leads to it. And so typically, right, you'd have more than 50 feet in front of a roadway, but the way this is laid out in previous development was done, that makes the most sense for access rather than, to zoom out for a second, trying to do it so there's some other access through here to get back to there, which would result in an irregularly shaped parcel, which is not favored by anyone.
Has the HOA been said anything?
I don't know. The HOA will certainly get notice. I'm I'll be honest with you, I'm pinch hitting for one of my colleagues tonight, so learning about this as I go. But the other thing that we, of course, would need to discuss with the township that Mr. Weir brought to my attention, of course, is that the pavement on Black Horse Lane ends before the property line. So there would have to be some sort of agreement with the township about paving and who's responsible for that if the variance were to be granted. But it does seem like.
The plan says 5 feet. The pavement was supposed to go 5 feet from the thing, but that conversation doesn't need to occur until they actually have a variance.
One home? One home.
That's my understanding.
Yes, they're carving out a 10-acre parcel.
So
Do you want me to go to the narrative of the,
is there a way to, if there was ever more than one home built there, then they would have to make
So-
that road up to specs?
yeah, because the current ordinance requires that no more than 5 driveways. But it's going to have to go through land development, which would go in front of the Board of Supervisors, which could put a condition on it that it can't be subdivided further.
Being subdivided, what do you, got a flag lot here, basically, off of Laurel Heights, and then you got a square that comes off, is that the idea?
Is it easier to see on the plan and the?
Plan itself.
Doesn't show it here.
This one right here, right? Oh, no, that's.
Seems with the parcels of red.
No,
Got too many things to
Were they going
yeah,
cut this piece off?
I think it's the, there you go. Can you rotate that?
Mr. Prati, this is, 2 more. So it's here. So here's the spur.
Right.
It cuts the top. So there's a rectangular,
Yeah.
there'll be a rectangle and a square.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that there's like a flag lot there that they're gonna cut off, I got you.
Yeah, this hasn't been created yet. That lot hasn't been created.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
that's what we're asking for, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
or that's what they're going to go through with
Yeah.
to try and do.
Right. So the variance itself is a variance from what is it, 150 foot at the front, at
Yep.
the street line,
At the right of way
right of way.
or at the property line. So the planning commission can make a recommendation to support it, take no action.
Any seconds? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
So much for coming out. Okay, next item is the 1 Jaeger Drive Sewage Facilities Planning Module. And I believe we need to review the component 4A of the planning module and sign it.
Yeah, so this is just a basic DEP standard module that, because they don't have public sewer, it's on lot septic. So the first one, 1 Jaeger Drive, is proposing to put an in-law suite in. This is just one piece of that. In general, it's just going before the planning commission that it was reviewed and okayed. The township engineer's review letter was included in your packet. And then the other will be for 147, which you may remember was the 2 parcels carved out to make the 3rd parcel, which in fact had to do the exact same variance as these folks have to do. And that's for their planning module.
So do all of us need to sign this?
No,
thing or
just
one?
one.
Okay.
All it's requiring is a signature, your title, and
Okay.
date. But it has to be somebody from the municipal planning agency.
Okay. All right. So those were all of our action items. Do we have any non-action items?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Next up, general discussion and public comment. We have a number of neighbors here tonight. Is the both? Yeah, both together. Any?
So there was a motion for both of them, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
For discussion, can we ask about White Clay Point, where that's at with the Board of Supervisors? Or they had a presentation at the last Board of Supervisors meeting?
They did. It's available online. There was not, I mean, it was, there was some general conversation, but for the most part, everything seemed favorable and, just moving along. They introduced the Lennar as their home builder, which is a national company.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we want to talk about? Any of our guests tonight have anything you'd like to share with the group? Please.
Hi again. I just want to make the point that I think the issue is not so much zoning districts as the fact that these zoning districts have very liberal permitted by right and conditional use. You see that pretty broadly through the new plan by Michael Baker. And if that wasn't the case, it might not be so problematic. But because so much of that has been put in through many of the districts, that is what kind of was the impetus of changing it and changing it again. I also want to say that it came from this planning commission. Some great questions were asked. Chris isn't here tonight, but there were a couple of members, including Bob Peretti, asking about, again, what is the conforming and non-conforming uses now? What were people's expectations? What has been happening in that limestone corridor? And Limestone Road, especially that little section, is not Route 41. It cannot handle the same traffic. And in fact, if you look at, and I ask you to please look at the current ordinance, it prohibits loud, noxious activities for industrial. And Michael Baker International very clearly on, in a public forum stated, when we reviewed this, and it was the zoning task force, planning commission, everyone, we determined it really was not appropriate as enterprise or, like kind of the new mixed use.
Innovation. Yeah.
No, so that's how they went to the innovation, because originally it was the enterprise district, which is what I believe he's asking for mixed use. That doesn't exist in the new zoning, right? Isn't it enterprise now?
Well, mixed use is one of the new zones.
Mixed use is the one that it was originally?
Well,
Okay.
I
And then
think
it was-
originally there was enterprise, which is
Yeah.
largely up by
Yeah.
the airport.
Yeah.
And I think the conclusion was enterprise really doesn't work for such a small footprint. And that was where the innovation or light industrial were considered
Right.
as
It was
more
clearly-
workable alternatives.
There were a lot of things that were like gas stations and pawn shops and check cashing and convenience stores that didn't seem to fit with what is currently permitted there, what is specifically prohibited there. And so Michael Baker did say very publicly, we determined that not to be appropriate. And that's how they moved to innovation. And so I don't, and then even that, right, was, okay, now we see why some aspects of that don't really fit the limestone area, the light industrial use of Limestone Road. And again, it is not 41. 41 is a major bypass. Limestone Road is not. It is a 2-lane road, at least in that area. And so I'm asking you to really look at that and look at what is allowed now, what is the feel of that area when you do have your discussions, because we're just so blindsided by this. This is just, it just seems, we were basically not only just given assurances, but it was stated on record, this is not appropriate.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how you could go back to square one when it was determined by several committees or commissions that it wasn't appropriate. How did we wind up back there? So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well said. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. I think that's it for us. It is 8 o'clock and the October 22nd Planning Commission is now adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Next meeting